You're listening to His Empire of Dirt by Pearlandpine. Chapter 33. Michael Afton is scared. Everything has to end, Mike figures as he vomits into the toilet bowl. He hopes he isn't being too loud. He doesn't want to worry Clara and Bella. William had gone out for a smoke after slamming the knife down on the pepper for a final time, and when Mike went to check on him in the hall, after thawing away his astonished, dreadful, frozen figure, William hadn't been there. Mike had searched all throughout the building, only giving up when the landlord downstairs informed him that William had driven away. This was it, Mike thinks, as he wipes his face with a piece of toilet paper and flushes it down the toilet. This was how the world falls apart. This was how life ends. This is how... No. Fuck that, and fuck everything that should happen and is supposed to happen. It's not just that Mike refuses to give up his mission out of obsession, probably inherited from his father, and obstinance probably inherited from his mother, or who his mother used to be. It's not that Mike is fearful of waking up in the ball pit and burning alive after being skewered by a bone. It's not even that Mike is scared or mourning the loss of his horrific grandparents. No. Michael Afton made a fucking promise. And he's not giving up on his best friend. Mike exits the bathroom and frantically looks to Bella and Clara. And it's only after they stare at him a little bit too long that Mike realizes he's wearing one of William's shirts that he had loaned him, and that Mike probably looks way too much like William for the comfort of the girls. "Did you reach Henry?" "Yeah," Bella says, shaking her head and tugging at her hair. "He's driving over immediately, but it'll still take him 6 hours." "Okay, that's not bad. Not even a day. Fuck, guys, this is bad. This is really bad." "I know his parents were awful," Clara says. "But do you think there's a part of him that's upset?" "He's only upset that he didn't light the fire himself." "I don't know. But we've got to find him before..." Mike is interjected by a loud honking outside, and he jumps a bit before rushing to the window. He exhales in both relief and trepidation at the sight. William is down there, beaming, beckoning the group downstairs. He's there. "Let's go. Let's go!" As Mike closes the door to the apartment, he has the sinking, dreadful suspicion that things will never be the same again. Mike wants to vomit again as William lowly whistles and slaps the hood of the car. "Isn't she beautiful?" he remarks as he saunters over to the group, spinning the keys on his pointer finger. "She'll need a name, of course. Maybe Beatrice." He laughs so hard at his macabre joke that tears well at the corner of his eyes. "So, ladies, Fritz. Yeah, not that there's much of a difference. What do you think, eh? Brilliant, correct?" William has purchased the car that will be his pride and joy for the rest of his life. It's the fucking Thunderbird that he will treasure more than his eldest son, and will in fact scold the son for nearly ruining the upholstery all by spilling a drink. It's the goddamn violet Thunderbird that Dad will drive when he brings Mike to murder Charlotte, when he goes to kill 5 little kids, when he flees Hurricane and only returns to continue his rampage. It can't be happening all over again. It can't be. And once more, Michael Afton is unable to breathe. "I'm not really a car guy," he breathlessly answers, and William rolls his eyes. Don't be a dolt, he scolds, and he sounds so much like Dad that Mike flinches. She's wonderful. Well? Bella asks, peering through the windows and into the car itself. How did you afford this? He smiles so impossibly wide. Insurance, love. Life and house. They've wired it to my account instantaneously. Probably because they feel so horrendously for the orphan boy. Imagine that, eh? Isn't that hilarious? Yes, friends, I am very, very rich indeed. Now, only took 19 bloody years, but I made it. He slaps the hood of the car once more. I say we take her for a spin. Well, Clara gently says, as she approaches her boyfriend, and she yelps when he scoops her into his arms and kisses all over her face and neck. Well, seriously, I think we should talk about... Oh, talk about what? Just the best bloody day of my life? I assure you I will be raving about it all day. Don't you fret. His smile is maddened as he sets her down and ushers her into the car. Bella shares a tentative look with Mike before following her roommate into the back. William closes the door behind them and approaches Mike with such a wondrous expression that one would have thought he had won every lottery in the world at the same time. Fritz, I feel so free. Will, we need to... He scoffs. What? Talk? What is there to discuss? A fire happened, and I cannot go back in time and stop it. If anything, all I wish is that I was there to see it go up in flames. The worst part of my life is finally gone, Fritz. Reduced to ash. He looks a bit sinister as he says, Now, there is nothing holding me back. Mike swallows down bile as he forces one foot in front of the other, entering the passenger side of the car. William is driving fast. Too fast. He has the radio blaring as loud as it can, and the windows rolled down, leading to everyone's hair being thrown about like they're in a tornado. Will is howling with laughter as he speeds down the highway. 80, 90, 100 miles per hour, exceeding even that. And all of the other passengers of the car are holding on to anything they can to steady their beating hearts. Will, slow down, Clara orders, and he pretends to ignore her. William Afton, slow down right now! She's asserting the fact they've settled with. She cannot trust him, and she is in charge. The reminder seems to be like poison to William, his eyes narrowing and his eyebrows furrowing as he scowls and eases off the gas. You lot are no fun, he whines, putting a playful tone at the edge of his voice. But Mike knows better. Mike knows better because he's heard this all before from his father, when he gets annoyed at a customer, perhaps aggravated with Henry, furious with Mike in public. He's lying through his teeth. And Will hasn't sounded like this before. At least, not recently. And Mike's heart is racing in his chest. There's hardly anyone on the road anyway. I'd like to go home, Bella says, and her voice is as quiet as a mouse. Yes, yes, William says, waving her off. I'll take the long way if that's all right. Pity for the orphan. He winks at her through the rearview mirror. The long way, evidently, is through a residential neighborhood. And when they pull onto a narrow street, William reaches next to his seatbelt and withdraws a fucking baseball bat. Fritz, hold the damn wheel, will you? Mike has no other choice than to obey, as William sticks his tall frame out of the window, brandishing the bat in the air, spinning it about like he's going to hit a home run. Mike yelps and grabs onto the wheel, barely keeping the car steady. Will, what are you... Will! William whoops as he rears the bat backwards and strikes it forward. They're driving just beside the sidewalk, and William is demolishing every mailbox in sight. A man sitting on a porch waves his fist at him, so William looks him dead in the eye and smashes the mailbox with a single swing. Mike fruitlessly tries to coax him inside the car. William only relents after destroying 2 more mailboxes, and he hops back down to his seat, jerking the wheel from Mike. "You lot are allergic to me having a good time, I swear," he remarks as he speeds away, still laughing, his eyes teary. But Mike knows it's just from the wind that's got caught in his grey gaze. From the way William is gripping the steering wheel, Mike knows that he wishes the mailboxes had been skulls instead. "We could buy a house now, you know," William says as he kicks off his shoes inside the apartment. "We could absolutely buy a mansion for the lot of us. I'll be Prime Minister of the establishment, of course." "Well," Mike begins, but William can't stop talking.
"It will be the grandest house of them all, the originator of the Afton Empire. Ah, yes, we will have grand parties just about every other day. And we'll have maids to clean up the spoils from the night before. Ah, yes, it is gonna be brilliant."
"William," Clara says bluntly, and William falters at being interrupted. Mike swallows and steps away. His eyes narrow just as they will in the future when a belligerent customer interrupts him, and he likely plots of ways to ruin their life and kill their children when they aren't looking. "We need to talk."
"About what?"
he snaps, but he's still smiling. He always smiles when he's like this.
"Oh, poor John and Beatrice Afton, up in flames." "They'd be in flames anyway, love." He smiles like a shark. "They're right down there in hell."
"I know they were monsters," Clara says. And she's gentle. Too gentle. A fawn upon a lion. "But they were your parents. You didn't get a chance to speak with them, to tell them off for all the horrible things they've done."
"I don't need to,"
he says, obviously lying. He scoffs and rubs his scars over his sleeve.
"I don't need them for anything. They fucking beat me, Clara, and now they're fucking dead. There, we discussed it. Happy?"
"No, I'm not." "Will, I'm sad for you. Don't you understand that?"
"No!"
he says, the words laced with venom. And when Clara responds with a shocked expression, he immediately softens his face, and he frowns as if rehearsed. This is what he does to Mom, Mike thinks. This is how he starts breaking Clara Caputo into a fucking toy for him to use.
"Oh, I didn't mean to snap, love. You're so wonderful for being concerned. But honestly, and I truly am being candid, everything is okay."
He turns to face Mike and Bella.
"I know you all are probably concerned about my head."
And he suppresses a manic chuckle when speaking of his affliction.
"But I am fine. I'm brilliant."
"If my dad died," Mike blurts, unable to stop himself, "I wouldn't feel brilliant." Mike knows how he felt when Dad died. Dad had been everything. Mike had nothing after that. Nothing. He knows William feels the same. He just needs him to admit it.
"Well, Frizz,"
William says, and he steps forward, looming steps that conquer the entire room, and he looks down on Mike. He'll always look down on Mike.
"We really are different, yes?"
He says different, as if Mike is plagued by a terminal disease by not being able to relate to the one and only William Afton in all things that regard death. "I guess we are," Mike says. And it's almost a retort. But not quite. Because of course Mike isn't bold enough to retort in this scenario. And he shrinks in on himself. And William looks so pleased with his reaction that Mike's head swirls. William Afton is happy that the most important person in his life is afraid of him. And Mike can't breathe. He can't. He just can't. He backs up until he hits the door and starts hyperventilating. He doesn't mean to. Not in front of his friends. Not in front of Will. Not in front of Will. But he can't help it. He just can't. Fritz, hi, Bella says, kneeling down to his level and offering him her hand. He gingerly takes it, and she begins breathing in through her nose and exhaling through her mouth, gesturing for him to follow suit. After several moments of doing this, his breathing manages to stabilize. He catches William's reaction, and his friend is observing him like a fucking speck of dirt, like a machine with a malfunction, like a child with a throat to slit. And Mike descends into hysterics once more. I can't, he stammers, barely forming the words. William hums something and squats down to Mike's line of sight. Mike tries to dodge the manic greyness that forever permeates into his skull, but he can't. He's always drawn to the gaze, like a moth to a flame. So he meets Will's eyes and shudders.
Is it your old man, Fritz?
Mike nods. Of course he nods.
All right.
William tilts his head and grins.
You said you'd burn him, wouldn't you? Just like Mum and Dad?
Mike is forced to nod affirmative. William is supposed to speak of other things. He's supposed to coax Mike into peace. They're supposed to promise each other that it's not their faults, that there's no more bombs. Instead, William Afton just menacingly smiles, tilting his head to the other side, and rumbles a declaration.
Burn him.
And then he bolts to his feet, waltzing over to the record player, playing incoherent music so loudly that Mike thinks it's entirely consumed his heartbeat. I can't burn him, Mike thinks, watching William smile and sway to the music. Then Mike's gaze lingers to the kitchen, where the ever-so-sharp knives are. He has two conflicting thoughts. Thoughts that belonged to Michael Afton in 1993, and then in 1956. I can't burn him. The fire would spread and hurt other people. I could stab him, though. I can't burn him. He's my best friend. Henry should be arriving in just about an hour. Clara and Bella have gone back to their apartment to bring back several days' worth of changes and clothes. And Mike feels like a rat stuck in a cage with a hungry cat.
You're looking quite frightened, Fritz,
William remarks as he grabs a beer from the fridge, cracking it open against the counter. He swigs down nearly half of it in one gulp, smiling wildly. He'll never stop smiling.
Frightened of me?
Will. Mike will never be able to successfully lie to his father. He can lie to Will. He can tell Will his name is Fritz Smith. He's just looking for a roommate. He was born in 1930-something. He can't lie to Dad, though. And it feels like Dad is standing right here. Yeah, well, I am. William fucking shrugs.
I don't know why. I haven't done a single thing wrong.
You won't talk. Your behavior is erratic. William sneers.
Don't you dare say that I'm a fucking loon.
I didn't say that. Mike calmly, but he's not calm. He's utterly panicked, says. I don't think you're crazy. Well, I think you're sick, and you might not react to things like this in the best way. He hums, pretending to consider.
Plenty of manic bastards have tragedies happen to them, Fritz. And they don't go on a damn rampage. So why will I?
Mike pauses. You just called it a tragedy.
No,
You did. You did. Mike feels a bit bolder now. I know I said I wanted to burn my dad. I know I said I wanted to kill him, but, well, if it happened so far away while I wasn't there, there is an emptiness to that. You don't get closure. You don't get revenge. They don't get to see how great you're doing without them. They're the people that broke you.
I am not broken!
William snaps, slamming his beer on the counter. He shakes all over, staring at Mike with utter malice.
Don't you ever fucking dare call me broken. I do not break. I fix. I fix all of my fucking things.
You're not a thing, Will. You're not a corpse. You're a person. Will, it's okay to not be okay about this. No one is expecting you to.
If I am not brave,
William says. And his face finally flushes, and his shoulders sag as he speaks. The revelation dawning on him. He huffs.
If I am not brave, Fritz, I will fucking fall apart.
He holds an iron grip over his scar and holds his arms close to his chest. And then he starts laughing, halfway pitiful, halfway maniacal.
He fucking beat me, Fritz. Do you know what Mum did? Do you know what she fucking did? She called me a goddamn demon. And she tried to fucking drown me, Fritz. Back in that fucking shelter. They both tried to kill me just for being born. And I didn't fucking ask to be born.
His laughter settles on hysteria.
But I was born because I'm bloody special. Do you hear me? I am special, and I am closer to God than Father ever was. I am gonna erect an empire. And how fucking fitting is it for them to be reduced to ash? Reduced to ash before they ever could have crawled to me and begged me for love and money and shelter from bombs.
He nearly keels over in laughter.
They're just fucking dirt, Fritz. That's their goddamn empire. One of fucking dirt.
He throws back the rest of the beer and stares down the bottle.
I must be brave, Fritz. I must be.
Mike pauses, searching for the right words. I didn't ask to be born either. I wished to die so many times, Will. You know, the only reason that I'm doing okay now, it's because of all of you. You are better than they ever were, but you have to stay with that. You're allowed to rely on other people. You don't have to be brave. You don't have to be brave. I will damn fall apart. You're allowed to. We're here to pick you up. We'll make sure you don't drown. I promise. You can. Mike lifts his head and approaches Will. You can be a good person, Will. You always have to be decent. But you don't always have to be brave. I promise. I promise. We're all just concerned. None of us will think you to be weak if you're upset by this. I promise. William nods a machine powering down. He rests his elbows on the counter and burrows his face into his palms, laughing hysterically.
Why'd they beat me, Fritz? Why the bloody hell did they beat me?
Mike suppresses a sigh of relief. Here it is. It's not repeating. It's fine. It's fine. Will's just figuring out how to mourn the worst people in the world. He's trying to deduce how to live life without bombs hanging right overhead. He's trying to... William lifts his head, and where there should be tears, there is only unbridled, feverish joy.
Do you know why it's a damn tragedy, Fritz?
He leans forward a bit and hisses out with a smile.
Because I wish I could have been the one to light the fucking match. If I had a damn time machine, I'd march up to Hare Street and bloody kick the door in. Drown Mum like she tried to drown me, and I'd kick Father down the fucking stairs until his skull cracked open. And I'd light the fucking fire. And after that, I'd never damn stop.
They're interrupted by the door flying open. Mike jolts, but it's only Henry on the other end. His face is flushed, his glasses foggy, his hair unkempt. His eyes scan the apartment until they settle on Mike and Will. Will, he says, and he rushes forward, forgetting that they can't be together, forgetting that William is sick, forgetting that they're no longer a couple, forgetting it all, and he wraps his arms around Will and holds him tight. William's expression warms for a moment, but Mike does not allow relief to wash over him. Because after a second, William's expression hardens into worse than stone. It warps into the side of a man about to sing and inject his son with remnant. Fanatical, horrifying, evil William Afton, the man behind the slaughter. And Mike realizes that in this moment where William is free, where he once more has Henry wrapped around his finger, where he can interrupt Clara and forego Bella, where he can make Mike afraid, that it all begins. It's all going to happen again. Michael Afton realizes he is once again a failure. A tear falling from his cheek, his eyes lingering at the knife in the kitchen, his heart racing, his soul yearning for his best friend. His brain cowering away from William Afton. Always cowering away from William Afton, no matter how hard the both of them try to change.